So you've got your photo, you've got it open up here. You go ahead and copy it in. I right-click copy, go into Illustrator, paste it in, and I've got my photo. Now, because it's raster based, I could blow it up. I can actually make it bigger, but at some point, the quality is not going to look very good because it's starting to stretch it too much. That's the downside over raster pixel photo based than a vector, which is what we're using with Illustrator. But there is a purpose, a time we might want to use a raster based image in here. A couple different purposes. Let me go ahead and put it on a new path so we can see it clearer here. I know some of you already been working on your bunny, and it is due tonight, which is great. But some people use photos as a guide. Maybe they're not necessarily as artistically inclined. I'm not necessarily the best pen and paper kind of artist. I like the computer, and I can use the tools to do some cool stuff. But just starting from scratch, I'm not the best. I can use this photo. Because it's pixel-based, I want to create a vector. I can come over to the side here, and I could create my brush tool, and I could use it kind of as a tracing mechanism, and I could trace over, and I'm just doing it quickly for the video and trying to watch the screen at the same time, and it's kind of interesting, but I could use it as a tracing mechanism, just to kind of create an outline form. Mountains you can kind of freehand them and probably be pretty close. But you could use that to try to trace a form or a shape. You could use it as a drawing reference. Some of you maybe had a drawing class in high school or just enjoy drawing. You take a piece of tracing paper, you put it over top of a picture, and you can trace, because it's kind of see-through, you can trace over it. Put it over against a bright window or something, you can trace over it. This photo could be helpful to give you an idea of a reference point, to inspire, probably not necessarily a mountain, but it could do grass or mountains or all those kind of things. I'm going to go back into here, I'm going to search for grass. Okay, first couple sets usually are Shutterstock. You have to pay for those. I want to find some grass textures. Okay, that's cool. I'll find a picture of some grass. It looks like fake turf technically, but we'll call it grass. It's tagged as grass. It looks like the texture of grass. Now, some of you have had fun trying to create grass and textures and different layers in Illustrator. That's great. But if I have my, I'm going to create a box here, create my little grass field. I created a box. I went ahead and I took this box and I now pasted in my photo. I want to make it look like there's actually grass here. So I have a photo of grass and I have a photo or a shape. I can take the shape and I can make it green, like some of you maybe already done a green shape. But here I have my photo. I'm going to move the photo behind my grass that I created. I'm going to right click on here, arrange. Send to back. My grass now is technically behind my grass texture. I'm going to select both of them. So I select both by kind of dragging. Now I have the grass picture in the background and the green box in the foreground selected. Now I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to Make Clipping Mask. Now some of you that are Photoshop experts, Matt and let's see the Photoshop. Will's taking Photoshop. I don't think I have any other Photoshop gurus in this class. I make clipping mask, and what that does now is that grass picture fits my box. So if I were to draw on a box or draw on like a grassy knoll or a mountain, I can take that photo and I can fit that area, and now it becomes grass photo inside of that vector shape. Technically, it's still pixel-based. It's rasterized, so I have some size limitations. Just because I did this doesn't mean I can stretch it and it'll look amazing if I print it 500 feet tall. But I have the ability in a small piece, a small file that you're doing for class, you want to create some texture, you have that option. So I've now created this shape, whatever that shape was, looked like grass, that actually has a grass-like texture because I found it from a stock photo. You think, why didn't you show it to me that last week? Because I wanted you to learn the process the old school way. Now I'm showing you the more advanced, complex ways. So you had fun playing with the simple ways. Now I'm showing you the more advanced ways. So you can take photos, whatever they are, grass textures, hay textures, cloud textures, any type of texture you want to bring in, and you could technically bring that in. The one caveat is, remember, it is still going to be pixel-based, so you're going to have some size limitations in there. But you can do that as a possibility. If you're only printing a small poster, 11 by 17, and you download the full resolution, probably no big deal. Now, if you're printing a billboard, it might not be so good. But most of us probably not going to print our homework assignments as billboards, I would assume. Matt might, but not the rest of us. So So that's the process. So trying to teach you the basics, the understandings, the quality aspect, and go from there. Questions so far on clipping mask, photos? There was a photo. I think I have the file open. Let me check my open recents. What was? I don't see it in here. There was one photo I showed you a while back that had like a hand with the bunny, and there were like multiple hands holding a bunny. That person, the spoiler alert, didn't just freehand the hands. They downloaded some pictures and then they helped trace and then stylize the hand from the painting. So they used a photo as a guide. They weren't completely some type of blessed artist. They did use kind of as a guide. They were talented, but they used the photo as a guide to help them create that piece of work. So photos can be used not as a crutch, as a guide to make your work better, and that's part of the process. So some of you asked, I know James asked, a couple others were wondering, if I have a piece like this, I have maybe different shapes. I've created random shapes, and they go over outside the artboard. I did say last class, don't worry about it at this point. But if I have something that goes outside my artboard, the instructions are there, but I do want to show it to you to make a little more example of how to make it work. Is we can create that same clipping mask process from the artboard edge to kind of make it so nothing hangs over the edge of the artboard. Technically, it doesn't necessarily matter. If I export my piece, only the artboard will become a JPEG file or a PNG file or a PDF file. But for cleanliness sake, just so when I see your piece, I don't see all the extra stuff hanging on the edges, I'll show you this process. We go ahead and create a rectangular shape. Go find in your toolbar a rectangular shape. And I'm going to drag from artboard to artboard edge. So this shape goes just the size of the artboard. Right now it's kind of filled with a color. It doesn't necessarily matter. It could be completely transparent. It could be a certain color. It doesn't matter. But the fact is I now have a shape over top of, at least I'm supposed to have it over top of, oh, I know my layers are messed up here. Put a layer, we'll talk about layers in a second. So I have my box over there. Select everything. So I have the box in the very top. Everything else is behind the box. Excuse me. Right click. Go to Make Clipping Mask. And what that does is it takes that box that was at the very top, kind of turns it invisible, but it remembers where that box was, and everything else outside the box cuts away, clips away. Technically, it's not deleted. It's still there. I could release the clipping mask, and I can bring it back. So I haven't technically deleted anything. I'm just hiding anything outside that box. So technically, it's there, but it's hiding. I click the picture. It shows one object now. I can't, if I do that, my pieces, all my layers are one piece. So I can't edit them anymore. So if I want to edit them anymore, I have it selected. See that? You go into your properties. Bottom is you release the mask. So if you release the mask, it goes back to the way it was. You can now edit each piece. But the last step you might want to do, and it talks about the instructions, which you should do, it's part of the process, is create that box that fits the edge of your artboard, create a clipping mask so everything else has a nice clean edge to it. Now if your stuff already has a nice clean edge, you're using a lot of rectangular pieces, doesn't matter. But more than likely your sun is kind of bleeding off the edge, or your dirt pile is going off to the side, or the grass is kind of flows off the side. And that's fine. But creating that box, creating a clipping mask kind of temporarily hides outside your artboard. It kind of cleans up your desk. I wish you had one of these for your room. You just click box, hit release clipping mask, walk away, and not get any dorm fines or demerits or whatever you get in a different chapel. You have to talk to Adobe about that one. That's out of my purview. So, questions on the clipping mask, creating your boxes. Not sure why. James, did you put on deodorant this morning? Like everybody fell to this side, James is over here on his own. I don't know what that's all about. Next time maybe I have to share it over a little bit. We can change the size of the room. Or maybe it's, the segregation of married versus unmarried. I don't know what it is. I'm over here too. I'm not sure. So Any other questions? We can have fun all day, but we have practical stuff to do too. Okay, so clipping mask, using photos to hit a shape, texture for a sky or for grass, or just a random shape, the sun, whatever you want. You can put those in clipping mask. If you want to bring a picture and a vector shape, you can duplicate, so one's a picture base and one's a vector base, so you have kind of combinations. We looked at having the blurry sun. You have a sun that's in the background that's blurry, sun that's in the foreground that's sharp. That's an option. I do have in this file, let me go ahead and show you some of the detail of this file. If I go into your window, remember if you're missing anything, you go show under window. And I'm going to look at layers. Layers isn't typically open by default. You don't have to set it up in layers, but this person a few years ago set up this piece in layers. So they have kind of set it up in several different directions. They have a background. They have a foreground. Oh, actually, I have some things I've changed up a little bit when I did my clipping mask. Let me reopen the file. So they got things on a foreground, and they got things on a background, and they got even things in a third layer. So they got things in layers. If you've done things in layers, like you've got layer 1 and layer 2, call them thing A and thing B, whatever you want, thing 1, thing 2. If you have things in layers and you're doing the send to back or send to front, it's only doing in that layer, not all the layers. So if by mistake you didn't even know what you did, you created multiple layers, and you're like, why can't this bunny, and this is a really chunky bunny too, I love the big chunky bunny. Why can't this bunny go behind the fence? I hit right click, send to back, it will not go behind the fence. The reason is because the fence is in the background layer, and the bunny's in this layer. So it's essentially the back of layer 1, but it doesn't go into this layer. So if you that's sometimes a good way to organize. You like the separation, but if you're trying to put it in the way back, but you have multiple layers set up, you can't get to the way back because you're only the way back of layer number 1. So depending on how complex your setup's getting, I know David has like a million stars in his pieces, so I don't know if he's got layers are set up or not. Otherwise, it could be kind of a pain to control. But there's some layers that give you the option to create new layers and to keep things kind of structured independently. So it's just the stars or just the fence, and you can't move them all together at the same time, which there are sometimes advantages the more complex you get. Did I see a question?
I was just wondering, how do you get more layers?
Yep, to create a layer, I go to your window to find the layers if it's not open, otherwise it's over here. And you can just click the little plus button and create a new layer. So now I've got a layer 4, or I can create a layer 5, layer 6. I'm making cakes or something over here. Cake artist in the room? I have a few good cake artists in my life. Am I sure not a cake artist?
I can.